Morning guys, Joe here, and I'm using my actual camcorder today. I don't know what to do with my hands. And that's because I finally found my SD card reader. I know, stupid reason, but honesty first. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I haven't been able to sleep all night. That's why I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning and looking fresh as a daisy. So if you watched yesterday's? 2 days ago, whatever day ago's video, you saw that I built an HTPC. I did that because I built my father one and I decided I wanted one. So then I got around to looking at parts I have laying around, and I'm just going to build stuff. I'm not going to put reasons behind it anymore. For example, this has been sitting on this table for pretty much every day since I brought it down here, ever since my place got completed, and it's actually a decent little computer. To go with that, I had that monitor just sitting there. It's not hooked up to my main computer because I have my 1080 vertically mounted in a space that it wasn't intended for, so I can't actually access my DVI ports on that card. Oh well, I'm not butthurt about it, but that means that I could be using that monitor to do things as well as, you know, my main monitor. So I've decided to go ahead and throw this on there and use it as a test bench slash secondary computer, thirdary computer, because I have my HTPC set up. Obviously this is going to be what if I do other reviews like other graphics cards, like I still have to do a review on an old 260, on SLI, or excuse me, Crossfire old AMD crap, and a few other ones that I've been wanting to do. But I don't like taking apart my main computer. I'd rather do it on another computer, and I'd rather do it on something that's open frame. Originally I was going to put my main computer back onto this open frame, but I've decided to just get a different open frame setup. Just the way it is. There's a guy that has a PC 011 Dynamic that he's selling for like $100, and if he still has that, when I make a couple of deals I'm working on, I may buy that. But yeah, let's go ahead and put this together. I already moved the standoffs on this case so that they're lined up for this board. I also installed 16 gigabytes of G.Skill Ripjaws X. Yeah, Ripjaws X memory. And a Noctua cooler. I've got to find the other fan and put that on here because I have the extra header for it. And yeah, so I'm going to be running this motherboard with, for its standard graphics card, will be my Asus DirectCU 2 GTX 780, which I did trade my buddy for the Nexus 6, which is a decent phone. I actually like it. And he decided that he wasn't going to use this, so he traded it back to me for a couple of Sega Saturn games. So good, because honestly, as soon as I did the deal, I was kind of regretting getting rid of it because it's a 780 and it does fine for most games. So it will also be a you can use this computer to game on while your other computer is editing and uploading, because the Windows 10 update 1809 killed the overclocking on my Strix motherboard, and I still haven't rolled it back because I haven't had another computer that was fast enough to edit on while I was doing it. And this one, when I overclock it, is almost as fast as my X58 Xeon stock. It's complicated. Also, I'm going to be doing an overclocking guide using this motherboard because there are people out there that have been asking me specific questions on how to overclock their processors on their motherboards. And while it is similar, it's hard to do it in text and convey thoughts through comments and replies. So I'm going to just do a full-on video. Next thing to do is put this on there, and then I still have to reconfigure my power supply. You'll see why when I get to that. We will be consulting the box of many screws a few times. And as previously discussed in the last video where I built something, you have to pay attention to what you're doing, because these are a coarse screw. standoff as opposed to the fine screw standoff. My word, son, that's one fine screw. I do that all the time. That was much more complicated than it needed to be. That's what happens when you try to do things, you know, without planning, forethought, or any kind of attention to detail. Now, as you can see by my super awesome labeling of the hard drive, I know which hard drives are which. So, we are going to use the included cages. And yes, this looks very scratched up. That's because this was originally a white powder coated case and I painted the inside and I really didn't need to. Now for the fun of front panel. I love front panel. You kidding me? It's my favorite thing in the world. He lies. Because of the way they actually route the HD audio connector on this motherboard, I've had to kind of make my own channel by pushing it through there, as well as run the cable up here along the back side of the motherboard and out of there. You won't notice that because the power connector for the motherboard or CPU power will go there anyway, so that works. Hate this tripod with a passion. I've again gone with a rear-mounted power supply as opposed to the standard position on the front, and that is because I prefer it on the back. It gives me more mounting surfaces on the front for other things, such as hard drives and stuff. And that's pretty much it. I just have to run a couple of power cables for the graphics card and the CPU, and once I do that, I'll get it booted up and show you it working so you can see that yes, indeed, I can build working computers. Granted, every computer I've ever built works, yet people still doubt me. It's probably not real easy to see, but I have it up and running. You can tell by the postcode reader down there, which also doubles as the CPU temperature on this motherboard. But additionally, I'm using that monitor because that's the one the HDMI cable is currently connected to. So yeah, it's very simple, very easy. Now I have a third computer, one for testing graphics cards and stuff, because this motherboard is actually a lot nicer than it looks. At the time when this motherboard was made, multicolor boards were kind of in fashion, in for people. However, the one thing I hate the most is the placement of the USB 3.0 header, because it's between two of the PCIe lanes, so it's annoyingly placed. The reason why that's annoying is because if I want to do anything such as SLI, I have to actually set the USB header cable on top of the card, which is supremely annoying. Also directly in line with the 6 gigabit per second SATA connections. So yeah, it runs right over everything. It's kind of like urban sprawl. It just right over everything. Doesn't really care. Up and running, good to go. Don't really need to take it any further than this. Just wanted to film throwing yet another computer together. It's 9 o'clock, which means it took me about an hour and 50 minutes to do. That can't be right. It's 8 o'clock. I have to hook it up to the internet so that it gets the right time, but it's 8 o'clock, so it took me just under an hour to build the computer. And of course I filmed it, because why wouldn't I? And yeah, so now I'm happy. Computer's up, ready to go. So that's gonna stay on there, or I'll get a stand or a stool and put back here in that corner, and I'll just set it there so that it's connected to this monitor. Simple, easy, breezy. Cover girl. If you're ever wondering how hard it is to build a computer, it's not that hard. Did that in under an hour. Granted, that's a much easier case to work with because it's an open air frame, but the fact of the matter is anybody can do this. and you can do it just as easily and with as little effort as I just put into it. So comments, questions, keep a lookout, because the next video I do with this computer, this particular computer, is the OC guide on how to overclock it when you have a non-overclocking CPU. Non-overclocking. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. I need more subscribers. Get me to 1,000 guys, and I will I'll come over and babysit for you. And if you don't have any babies, I'll just come over and sit for you. And as always, I'll talk to you later.